Hey everybody, Zach here. Just wanted to do a quick little update before we jump into the episode. We ran into a little bit of an issue with Jake's audio. That's why he's seemingly missing for about the first 40 minutes or so. He was at a hotel in Florida and the Wi-Fi wasn't the best, so he was cutting out, and he rejoined later on in the session and you hear him from about 40 minutes on. However, if you hear Marie or us kind of seeming to jump around or start answering a question that doesn't seem to be there, it's because he asked a question and the audio was gone. So it only happened 2 or 3 times, but we left her answers in because we wanted you guys to hear them. So other than that, he joins halfway through and we're good to go. Welcome back to Smashing Heads Podcast. This is going to be episode 6.5. We just wrapped up recording with Marie Roda, who was insanely likable and just we got along with right away. Again, she's up in New York and we're home in Tennessee, but Jake's actually recording in Florida, and so his audio drops a couple of times, but we'll try to make it work the best we can.
Yeah, and I apologize for that in advance, guys. It was that's frustrating for me.
Yeah, that's why he's a little absent at the beginning of the show.
Just some Wi-Fi problems.
Yeah, but he comes back in, and we're good to go from here on out. But again, Marie,
super funny.
Yeah, we talk about it a little bit. Like, she was the first person we were supposed to get on this show, and it was after only 3 weeks of doing it, and we were scared she just was gonna bail on us because we didn't know her. She has no reason to help us out and come on the show, but she was awesome, and I will say we have all made a huge turn on her as far as she's super likable.
Really down to earth.
Yeah, she understands.
I said it at the beginning of this whole thing after the premiere that I think we're gonna make a turn on Marie this season.
And we definitely did.
Look, we're right in the middle of it.
Yeah, and again, this all started because we made fun of her on Twitter, and she had a good sense of humor about it, and so that made me right away like her. That she didn't get upset, because some people could have just been like, "Oh, I'm going to block everyone."
But we all make fun of each other.
Yeah,
and we all think it's really funny to make fun of each other in a not really mean way, and so to see somebody from the show behave the same way makes us just like her even more.
Yeah, very lighthearted interview. We got into a lot of things some fans asked us about question wise, but just why she was gone from the show for a little bit, what her plans are, how is it being on the show, and so
some things coming up
that we couldn't fully get into yet, but I think you guys will.
You're definitely going to want to watch.
Yeah, this season, I feel so much better about this season after talking with her than I did coming in. I mean, I don't know how about you guys.
I'm actually really excited.
I've been enjoying the season.
I know, but don't you feel a little bit better now?
I felt good the whole time.
Okay, well, you're the anomaly. Again, we'll be back with you guys on Tuesday for our normal show, and again, I hope you enjoyed it as much as we had recording it. All right, guys, we are joined by Miss Marie Antoinette Roda. I don't know your middle name, so I just made up one.
It's Anne. My mom gave me.
Oh wow, I was really close.
Yeah,
I mean, you went a little fancy with it.
I know.
Thank you very much.
That's the only name that came to mind after Marie. I knew your last name. So are you in New York right now?
I am in New York right now. Yes.
I saw somewhere that said you were born, or at least you lived in Staten Island. I'm assuming you were born there, just based on accent and all that.
Yes. I've been trying to lose it, though. I don't know if you guys saw my first
We did say something the other day.
That's something we were definitely going to bring up, because we just rewatched Battle of the Seasons.
Oh, God.
It was... So Battle of the Seasons was your first season. Mm-hmm. And so you came in, and I think you kind of spearheaded your little team.
Oh, yeah. You're definitely
the other three on your team seemed to be very...
Scared of me?
Scared, also a little scattered.
Yeah.
But yeah, then you would do your confessionals, and I was like, man, Marie really sounds like she's from Staten Island.
Yeah, going back, I didn't realize it at the time, but yeah, going back, it was a lot stronger back then.
I get that all the time.
Really?
Yeah.
So what are you up to nowadays? Now that you're challenge famous?
Oh my gosh, challenge famous. I don't know. I guess I'm trying to figure out if I'm going to continue to be challenge famous. That's one thing.
We had a lot of people ask that.
Yeah. But that's not really up to me. So
Okay.
that's a weird subject, you know?
Yeah.
It's really about like getting the call and figuring out, am I a staple or not yet? Yeah. And then in the meantime, I'm just, I'm working on my own stuff. I work with my father owns his own title real estate company.
Okay.
So he's been trying to hand me that company for the last, 10 years of my life, and I've been avoiding it.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Oh, speaking of, happy birthday last week.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We initially, I think, were supposed to record sometime last week, and
and I was on a real bender.
yeah,
Sorry
you're like,
about
I don't want to drink and then forget about you guys. So
Yeah.
it actually worked out perfect. So it feels like at this point, it was like 3 months ago when we first started talking to you about this.
Oh my gosh.
Because we just, it all started when I just took a picture of you that was
My pants?
yeah, and
Okay, first off, those are the most comfortable overalls in the world.
well, I mean, they
And
looked
they're
like,
made for swimsuits.
they looked like they were comfortable, but it's just the angle of that you were standing.
No,
and,
it
like,
was really everything. I don't even know where those are now.
In
I
the-
think after you guys tweeted me, I'm pretty sure I threw them out.
Well, it just
so
made like an
funny.
extra crease that went like way further up than it should have been.
I know, they were terrible.
And then
It was really
I
bad.
think at the time something on Facebook was like trending that looked similar to that, and I was like, I gotta put this out there, and I did not expect you, one, to respond, or two, to take it lightheartedly.
Listen, if you can't laugh at yourself, somebody else is going to laugh at you.
That's true.
You might as well.
You know what? Honestly, I was trying to, but you guys, you really gave me a hard no with that. So,
Hey, I'm all for it. I think
Listen,
you
I
should
think
wear
it's
it
okay. I'm a
every
big
day.
jumpsuit supporter. I love
Oh, yeah.
jumpsuits. They're very comfortable. I like that you can find one with a really good pattern and you don't have to find like pants that match or a top that matches.
not one that looks
It's-
like a bed cover, you mean?
Yeah, it's like everything all in one. It's easy.
I think you should contact Under Armour and say,
Oh, God.
this is
Under
what we
Armour
need.
hates us.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I remember my
funny.
first challenge, we showed up and we had like a huge bag of free stuff.
Yeah.
And then as the years progress, like you show up, you get a bag and like one shirt. They're like, we want nothing to do with you
Oh,
savages.
really?
Really?
Yeah.
That's really
Yeah.
surprising.
That is kind of surprising.
I would think it would be the opposite since, the challenge and MTV are kind of gaining traction, it seems like, with social media and stuff.
Yeah. Nope.
That's kind of weird.
I know. I'm like, let me reach out to a bunch of companies because, listen, there's nothing I love more than free clothes.
Well,
Yes.
I mean, that's awesome.
That's one of the
Like,
reasons I go was for the Under Armour bag. And then I got there and I was like, what the heck is this?
Yeah, so that's really strange because it seems like they do not want you to wear anything else other than Under Armour.
Yeah, that was the case for a very long time until Under Armour stopped giving us things. So actually, a lot of the new cast members will go out to Under Armour and buy their stuff. And if you've been to Under Armour lately, it's not cheap.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know when Under Armour thought that they became the new Nike, but their stuff is
It's
like,
it's probably when they got Steph Curry to sign with
Yeah.
them.
all right, well, there you go. That
Yeah.
makes sense then.
I did notice a lot of Under Armour's items are actually priced higher than most Nike things.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird. I figured they gave you a ton of stuff because I know you never see any other name brands, and so like if you have any like shirts that have like wording or anything else on them, they just blur them out.
They take them from us.
Oh, do they?
Oh, wow.
I know
Yeah.
sometimes they're inside out. It looks like.
Well, that was a few years ago.
Yeah,
when
it was.
they did that.
We've been kind of on a little bit of a bender going back through some old seasons because Hannah really only started watching with Bloodlines.
Oh, wow. I was supposed to be on Bloodlines.
With who?
My youngest sister, and we would have probably won.
Oh,
that was
really?
probably the closest thing I would have ever gotten to it.
I saw today on I saw you jump in on that little Facebook Live thing with Derek, and he said he was supposed to be on Bloodlines too. Him and
Everyone's supposed to be on Bloodlines, but
Really?
yeah, but I actually was casted and I dropped last second.
Oh, so you dropped out. Okay.
I was still like in the figuring out if I wanted to be a real person or not.
Yeah, so that's before you actually came back.
Yep.
So yeah, that's probably the biggest question we got was what was the holdup between Battle of the Seasons and then was it Invasion of the Champions, the next one you came back to?
Yeah. Okay. So a little backstory. So
Go for it.
I did my real world. I got home.
Uh-huh.
2 weeks later, we left for the challenge. Now, mind you, I was just in St. Thomas eating everything. Like I drank rum all day. I was eating. We were on a secluded island. I was probably about 35 pounds heavier than I usually am. I got off the plane. My mom's like, "What happened?"
That's what you want to hear when you get off a plane.
Yeah, and they're like 2 weeks. I'm like, I feel like everyone goes on these shows, whether it's the challenge, and now I feel like Are You the One? These other things are like, the challenge is like the end goal.
Yeah,
really,
it's like the coolest thing. So we left, and that was Battle of the Seasons, and Battle of the Seasons just happened to be a very filled rookie season.
Yeah, I liked that season. It was different, but it was a good one to me.
Yeah, well, I feel like if people were to go back now, because a lot of those people have kind of come up through the challenge rankings, they would appreciate it more.
Yeah.
But at that time, people didn't really know who we were. Yeah, so it was like a rookie season without being a rookie. I felt like Invasion was more of a rookie season for me than it was Battle of the Seasons.
Invasion was weird. Like, just the whole premise of that show.
Just wait till we get to that.
Okay, yeah.
Just wait.
Go ahead
show
and
up
talk about
to no
seasons.
house. I was like, get the hell out of here. Anyway. So I show up to the airport. Mind you, my show didn't even air yet. So none of these people knew who I was.
Yeah.
And I was like fangirling. So what does Marie do when she gets nervous? I drank, right? So I was in the airport with all of these new faces, people that I followed on Instagram and all this stuff. And I decided to drink a bottle of Cafe Patron to my face. I believe it was me and Nani. Nani almost wasn't even allowed to get on the plane. But I was on the plane straight out of Bridesmaids. I was sleeping on the guy next to me. I was asking for the chef. I didn't like the food.
That's so funny.
Yeah. So I came off of there, and all of these rookie vets, I'll call them, loved me. So that's how I kind of became the leader of my, I guess, my team.
Was that like Frank and Zach and some of them?
Yeah. I came off, and they call me Carol. Zach's crazy aunt is named Carol. So they were calling me Carol, to the point where production had to be like, guys, you can't call her Carol.
Oh, because no one knew who you were at the
time. So, yeah. That's how I got to Battle of the Seasons.
Yeah, so...
and then now we're asking me why I came back, right?
Yeah, you can jump into that if you want. Yeah.
Okay, so then I did Battle of the Seasons. I came home. My Real World season had aired, and then that. And I looked like a crazy person, And I'm watching myself on TV, and, I'm getting all these hateful tweets that, no one can really prepare you for that.
Oh, yeah. I can't even imagine it.
Yeah. And I didn't have a resume to back it up. It wasn't like I couldn't be like, no, I'm not that psycho that you just saw on TV. I have a brain,
That's funny because Frank did kind of the same thing in that season. He's punching the couch, and he's like, I don't want to be made to look like a crazy person. And I was like, well, you're kind of proving the point right there.
We laugh at that all the time when he's slamming the pillow on the floor. Yeah. So I decided that it wasn't for me anymore. So I went and I got a real job in the city, and I was doing startup sales for about 5 or 6 years, and I was really, really good. I was making a lot of money.
Was that in Manhattan?
Yep.
Okay.
I lived in Manhattan. I worked in Manhattan. In fact,
I love Manhattan.
There's no place like it in the world. Yeah. But yeah, so I was all over the place. I did really well for myself. And then, I hate really talking about this because it makes me sound like super femme.
Okay.
But, it's true that women in the workplace, especially in sales, especially in startup sales in New York City, don't get treated the right way. And I just wasn't getting the credits that I deserved. And I'm the kind of person that, you don't even have to pay me. I just want a gold star. That's who I am. And they weren't giving, And they weren't giving it to me. And after a bunch of different tries and stuff, I was like, well, I have my own idea for an app. So I started putting it together. I actually pitched Sean Rad, the creator of Tinder, off a cold call email. I was talking to VCs, all of this different stuff, but I had no idea, what I was doing, nor did I have the resources. So I was like, you know what, let me do this backwards. I'm going to go on the show again. I'm going to, get this platform so that if and when I do have the opportunity to maybe create something, whether it's going to be this app, I guess, or anything, at least I have people that I could,
a following,
put it out to.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. I think I saw, did you do a Reddit AMA that talked about that?
Probably.
Because some people have brought up hey, is she still wanting to go make an app or something like that? And I didn't know what they were talking about.
Yeah, it's still very much my dream.
Okay.
But I feel like it's going to take a long time, and you know what? Time is money. And
exactly.
That's right.
And the tech
we all got to start
fast.
making it sooner than later. So I don't know if I'm still going towards a bad idea right now, but we'll see.
So at that point, you just,
I mean, it makes sense. Again, if you're wanting to do something post-challenge, having a following of some sort, just even if it's like an app or something like that, that gives you a built-in audience from day one.
Yeah, exactly.
And, I mean, that makes sense to me. I watched Battle of the Seasons, but it was 2012, right?
Yeah.
And so when you came back on Invasions, I didn't really remember you. Like, I'm not trying to be mean. I just
No, don't worry about it.
It had been a while.
Yeah, it had been a while.
Very long
You just
time.
you did one season, then we're just gone.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I know her, but I don't remember where from. And then, going to kind of doing a little bit of research, I realized, I was like, oh, like she's from Battle of Seasons. And like, they actually did pretty good, especially for,
You
rookies.
seem
Now,
to get pretty far considering the
other
partner
half,
you were left with.
The other half of your team didn't do great, but
No.
you and Rob made it pretty far.
Yeah, we made it. We made it right to, I think, before the final. Actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was surprisingly good.
Do you still keep up with the people from your Real World season?
Laura's actually getting married, so she has invited us all to her wedding, which is in October. Toya, I always catch up with here and there, and then Rob still tries to hit me up, but I don't know. It's kind of.
I read something today that said he's like training to like be a triathlete or something.
Yeah, I don't know. The guy's running like 12 miles a day for fun, so.
That doesn't sound like fun
That's
to
not
me.
fun.
Right? Like,
I
what?
hope that he quit smoking to do that.
Exactly. So if we do hang out, like, what are we supposed to do? Like, go for a walk? No thanks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's not my idea of fun. I don't like just running and not like I like playing sports. And I mean, clearly you do challenge related stuff, but I mean, just running for the sake of it is not what I like.
And guys, just so you know, like, I am mostly sarcastic with the things that I say. Like, I used to play sports. Honestly, I was a very good athlete back in the day. For the majority, I like to say this, for the majority of my life, I was an athlete.
Would you
That
play?
being said, I'm 30. So that means, like, up until about high school.
Yeah, everything
Yeah,
kind
yeah.
of slows down.
Hey,
exactly.
I'll be 30 in October, so I'm right there with you. I'm the oldest out of the three of them.
Nice. I'm the oldest out of my three sisters as well.
Well, actually, I have a sister. She's actually 7 years older than me, so I'm
wow.
I'm the youngest of my family. But out of the podcast, I'm the old man.
Ah, I see.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
yeah. So when you came back to Invasions, weren't you the first one that got eliminated?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So now I've just been living this like lavish lifestyle
Yeah.
in Manhattan. And like they had been calling me for every season since.
And
I
you
did
just
Battle
been
of
turning them
Seasons.
down?
Yeah.
Okay.
And there were some that I would like toy with. I'd be like, yeah, I'm coming, and then I would like back out last second just to like know that they still want me, And then I finally say yes, and I show up to Thailand, and we're in this boat, and we pull up to this beach, and there's no house.
Oh,
I
yeah, that was
Yeah, I forgot about that.
what was
Yeah.
it called?
The shelter.
The shelter, yeah.
Yeah. And I was like, if I had known there would be no home, I would be home right now. You know, like
Yeah.
I showed up, I had like my Balenciaga bag. Like, who am I? I was sitting in like this mosquito net. It was just like literally my nightmare. And, I'm coming back from like a 5-6 year hiatus, and I'm like, I got to come back. I got to show everyone, I'm still, a force to be reckoned with. And then I go home, the first episode, I was like, am I serious right now? Like how embarrassing. Great plan, Marie.
Yeah, so at that point, you probably didn't know most of the people that were on that show because that was all the people who haven't won,
Yeah, no, the only person I knew there was LaToya.
Okay, yeah, and I didn't really honestly know her very well. Was she on your Real World season?
She was on my Real World season, and then
Okay.
she did Free Agents, I think.
Yeah,
That's where she's
right.
from.
Yeah.
Yeah, we just watched Free Agents because again Brandon was coming on and that was his last season, so we were trying to catch
Everyone
up on
loves
some
that
things.
season.
It was a good season.
It was really
Yeah.
good.
You
Really
FOMO.
entertaining.
You missed out on it.
I know. I think it was right after Seasons, too. Or was that Rivals?
I don't. We've watched so many lately.
Because I remember I was like, Sam's going to be my rival, isn't she?
Yeah.
Sam should have been Frank's rival.
Oh my goodness. That would
Sam
have
had
been
a lot of
a
options.
team.
Yeah. Yeah. So I guess one of the main things I've always kind of wondered about is how you got casted just to begin with the Real World, because I know everyone's casting story is different. Like I don't want to keep referencing Brandon, but he said he was actually casted for the Real World, and then at the last second they cut him and they're like, hey, do you want to come do Fresh Meat?
Oh, wow.
And so he was supposed to be on the Cancun season with like CJ and Derek and all those people. And so, what was your casting story like?
My casting story. Okay, so it was St. Patrick's Day in New York City.
What year was this?
Probably, I guess, 2011.
Okay.
Because I think it took me about a year, maybe a year and a half to get casted. Maybe 2010. I'm not really sure. Right after college.
Okay, yeah.
And was that right after college? When did I graduate? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, because I went from 2007 to 2011. We're right at the same time.
Perfect. Okay. Good. You could do math. I can't.
Yeah.
Clearly, great education. And I was walking past a Hooters, and they had an open call for The Real World. And I was with my friend, and we were drunk, and we were like, let's go. Like, we got nothing else going on in life. Let's go be on reality TV. And, you know, they make you sit around these round tables, and it's a really, really long process. And I had gotten to the finals, and they didn't cast me. So I was actually supposed to be on San Diego with Frank and Zach.
Oh, okay.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and they casted Ashley over me.
Ashley Kay?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I remember them calling me back. Or honestly, who am I kidding? I definitely went at them a million times. Like, so how's it going? Like, when am I coming back? You know?
So you pursued
like, I'm
them.
like, oh yeah, they just called me out of the blue. No, they didn't, Marie. Like, I was very, very persistent.
It seems
funny.
to have worked out for
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, persistence breaks down resistance. So, yeah, they casted me. I'm pretty sure. I remember showing up to St. Thomas and being like, they casted all of you guys around me because I hate all of you.
So,
Oh my God, I hate myself.
had you ever been to St. Thomas before?
No.
Okay. So how long were you actually there? It's about 4 months for The Real World, right?
Yeah, it was 3 months at a time.
Okay, yeah.
And you have to think everything's like imported there, so
It's expensive.
Yeah, very expensive.
Yeah.
They don't really pay you to go on the show. It's kind of like the experience, you know, and they'll give you maybe like $300 a week.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Really?
Yeah.
So you
Yeah.
have to work with that allowance to get like food and stuff?
Yeah, so you can
Wow.
imagine that my father was not very happy with my credit card bill.
Oh yeah, because everything is.
Yeah, and I'd be like Mrs. Generous, like, oh, you have no money, let's go to the bar, everybody, you know.
See, I'm a little naive on how some of the production works as far as money and all that, and so I figured MTV kind of fronted, or Brennan Mary, whoever's behind it, fronted your expenses as far as food and drinks and all that, even when you go out. As long as you're filming, I assume that it was paid for by them.
So when we first got to the house, everything was stocked up. However, all of the Real Worlds that were like in the States,
Yeah,
when they would go out, typically, the restaurants would give them free stuff.
because it's exposure or something.
Yeah, exactly. But St. Thomas did not care.
Well,
Nor
like,
do they want
we don't
me
even
there,
know what
trust
show
me.
you're filming.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So,
Yeah, that's got to be a pretty crazy turn from just wandering around New York to shooting The Real World, being gone for 3 months, and then 2 weeks later, like going to the challenge and
Yeah.
not seeing how you are received on TV yet.
yeah, when I was out there on the challenge, actually, my show started airing.
Yeah.
So we weren't even able to like tweet along or do all that fun stuff.
So when you were at Battle of the Seasons,
and
what's
to
up?
that point, I get all these hater fans that are like, you only have these many followers and you only have this. Well, sir, after I got home from the show and I decided to be a real person, I deleted all of my social media.
Oh, did
I-
you?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I tried to like pretend like it never happened. So like thousands of followers. I think I could have probably sold it at that point.
I don't blame you at all. Like I got in trouble last time we did an interview because I mentioned some community was toxic, and it was tongue in cheek because I'm part of it. You're part of it as well because I've seen you post there.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Okay.
And not everyone. Clearly, there's good people and fans, but I mean, at the same time, there's some people who they make it their job to try to hurt people's feelings. It seems.
Yeah, tell me about it.
And I can't imagine from your perspective, like,
Being the target.
yeah, like just not even like if you've done anything or you haven't done anything. It's just a weird stance to somehow have all of these anonymous people that you don't know that are just suddenly like, you suck, you're the
They're
worst.
just being
you
real
know?
vicious. You
Right,
really
and,
seem
like-
to need really tough skin.
Yeah, I mean, you got to think about it. I try to remember this. Like, never in my life have I ever like went to, I don't consider myself a celebrity, but like went to a celebrity's page or, you know, went to the challenge page and like commented mean stuff. Like who does that? You know, and I try to remember how sad that person must be.
It's a weird paradigm because, like, you know, when we started, like, me and Jake, I'm speaking for both of us, we started watching the challenge around the same time, which was probably 2004 or so, right around, like, the Miz era, like, when that was ending. So,
oh, my God, he's so cool.
Yeah, that was a long time ago. And so back then you didn't have all this, like, social media interaction and all this where everyone's keeping track of everything you say and there's these instant recaps and all that. And so, like, this whole newer generation, which you're kind of an anomaly because you kind of fall in at, like, the tail end of, like, the middle group.
Yeah.
Not like the OGs from, like, back, you know, Mark Long and all them. But you're also not the new ones, you know, like the Big Brother people that are coming over.
Yep.
And so it's a weird paradigm on the show. And I know a lot of people are pretty upset about the way that this season has been handled so far as editing and, you know, time on camera and all that stuff.
Tell me about it. I had to do 2 recaps about 2 episodes I wasn't even in. I was like, I didn't sign up for this.
Yeah, that was the initial reason we pushed this interview is because you're like, I'm not even on this episode. Let's wait a couple weeks.
Exactly.
Yeah. So speaking of that, I've noticed that this, you know, with these last couple of seasons, it seems that more and more competitors, castmates, whatever you want to call them, are pursuing like other avenues other than just like social media, things like that. Like,
other avenues of fame.
Well, just of, you know, relevancy.
Like to get on the show?
Well, no. So let me clarify that. So like you're writing for your recaps. Cara's writing recaps for a website. Davon has a YouTube channel. I think Natalie has a YouTube channel. Johnny Bananas had a YouTube channel at one point. It seems like more and more people are starting to realize. I think Kayla has one because I know you're close with her. More and more people are trying to do other avenues that they can control a little bit more outside of the show. Is that something that MTV has kind of like asked you guys to explore, or is that just something that's just happening independently and people are noticing, oh, I can actually get my own take on things out there if I do it this way?
Yeah, I mean, that's 100% it, especially because, I mean, I don't think they do a very good job of promoting us at all. But on the other hand, there's money to be made.
Yeah.
You know, if you're Jenna or you're Kayla and you have 200-something, 300-something thousand followers, and you start a YouTube channel,
You can monetize
right
that.
away you could start making money.
Yep.
And, you know, everyone's like, oh, you know, it's all about these Twitter beefs these days, and, like, that's how you get on the cast. But unfortunately, like, that's just the world that we live in.
Yeah.
You know, so if I guess, you know, the more that you put yourself out there, whether it's, I guess, on YouTube or whatever else, you're building a follower, you're reaching other people. Like, I love doing podcasts because it gives me the opportunity to come on and just speak like a normal human being.
Yeah. Again, I will say, and I was very upfront with you from the beginning when we started talking.
Yeah, you're like, I don't really like you that much.
I was not the biggest fan of you going into this. And it's because, like, for the most part, we didn't see a lot of you. And if we did, it was you just involved in, like, weird fights. And
Well, so there's reasoning behind this.
Okay.
Okay, let me see if I could try to break this down.
Don't get in trouble. Like, don't.
Oh, no, we're good.
Okay.
We're good.
Okay.
So on Invasion, right, I come back out of nowhere. I go home first.
Yep.
So obviously, the longer that you stay on a challenge,
Yep.
the more FaceTime that you're going to get, right? So they're not going to, if I stay on to the 4th episode, they're not going to build a huge story around me because once I'm gone, I'm gone.
It's not
So there's no-
lasting. Yeah.
Exactly. So there's no reason for them to really build, you know, people up about me because I'm going to be gone. So there's only so many things that are going to fit that particular, I guess, character in that sense when you're only have so much to give, right?
Yeah.
And I haven't been in situations where I've been able to be a normal person. You know, thank God. I feel like this whole thing with Cara has like finally just given myself the opportunity to show people that I'm normal.
I will say the funny thing is you come across as the way more stable one this season, and
Yeah.
every other season it's kind of been a flip flop.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying you were unstable, but that's just, you know,
Well, I'm definitely still unstable. So
well, if you say it, I'm not going to be the one saying it.
No, I think I said this in our recap Tuesday night. Marie, you seem like kind of the voice of reason so far in this season that we've seen, which is a really interesting side to see.
Yeah, well, there's a reason why I get along with the majority of the cast.
I'm
not a jerk.
I've seen that. Like legitimately, one of the questions someone asked us was, how do you seemingly like really be friends with the majority of the cast while a lot of them don't seem to like each other at all, and you're kind of like in between both? And that was interesting for me because, you seem like you're not afraid to put your opinion out there. And I was like, she might have some enemies on the show. But it seems the more that we've kind of like seen you and followed you and whatever, you're way more like close with a lot of cast members than the typical cast member, if that makes sense.
Yeah, guys, I'm the plug. The only reason Kayla has friends is because of me.
That's funny.
Does she call you and thank you every day?
Sometimes she does.
Okay.
She's like, no, I'm just kidding.
She should.
But so that's also a reason why people. Okay, so Invasion, that doesn't count, right? That was gone.
Yeah, it was a weird one.
Then we had Dirty 30.
Yep.
Which, okay, so listen, guys, if I go home on Invasion the first time, why the hell are they going to keep bringing me back for 3 seasons if I'm this terrible, right? There has to be something that people aren't
That's
seeing.
good that you recognize that.
Yeah. So on Dirty 30, I think the format was, if you're in the losers bracket, that's how you get voted in. So I was never in the losers bracket. I was always kind of like, mid-tier, but like towards the top mid-tier. But my problem has always been my mouth, because I politic a lot, and it's stuff that you don't see. So for instance, like Jenna and Jemmy were partners this season, and it's because of me. Like,
really?
So when we were in Dirty 30, and I had the opportunity to be in a power position, which I don't get often, so I obviously took advantage of it. I tried to get Kayla versus Camilla in the elimination. Mm-hmm. And we all set it up that way, and how it kind of fell down was it was in Jemmy's hands, so she put her against Jenna because for whatever reason she felt that
double
was
cross.
A better situation. But they don't show that I'm actually pretty savvy with people. Just like speaking to people and getting across them. So then there was that, and then Vendettas. Okay, on Vendettas, do you remember the swimming challenge where Brad just got screwed over? He was literally on the worst team ever.
Yeah.
I honestly don't, but apparently they do.
Yeah. Nobody on his team could swim, and it was a swimming challenge.
Okay.
I made the teams. And for every other challenge, they showed people making the teams. But of course...
They didn't show you.
Of course. I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, never.
They didn't even give you credit for it. Which
No.
It was, if you made the team and put Brad on a team of non-swimmers,
And
that
myself.
was brilliant.
And myself, I sabotaged it.
Was that before or after the pizza incident?
This was right after.
Right after? So it was pretty fresh.
This is when Brad went into elimination. Brad is crazy, guys, in the best way possible. I love him. Don't get me wrong, great guy. But the story behind the pizza, again, they don't show it. They make me look like a pizza hoarder.
You did look like the pizza hoarder.
Like, come on. Right? So they bring us a ton of pizza to the house. Brad is over there not blinking, like scarfing down like 5 pies. My friends are all outside drinking. So I take a box of pizza for the girls in my room, and I go and I put it in my room because that's what friends do.
Yeah.
Yeah, you made sure that they had something to eat.
Yeah. Yeah. So now I come back. I just had a regular slice. So I come back into the kitchen. The pizza's still in the bedroom, and I go for the vegetable slice. I wanted to mix it up, and Brad was like, "Maria!" Started screaming. And that's why I was like, "It was a different slice," So he's getting crazy over the pizza. I'm laughing, so I'm like, "Is this guy serious?" Because I was explaining to him, I'm like, "I'm not eating all of the pizza, Brad." So then I went back and I even brought the pizza back into the kitchen, and he was still going on.
Yeah, it seemed really drawn out, and I was like, maybe they're just not showing it. Like, maybe she ate a whole lot, and they're not showing it.
It was a really weird scene.
And then he threw it on.
I would not have walked downstairs if I ate that much pizza.
You threw it on him on the bed, and it became a whole thing.
I thought it was funny.
It was funny.
It was funny.
It was funny.
At the same time, from his perspective, it would be very annoying.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, Brittany was laughing. I was like, can't we all just laugh? Like, it's not that big of a deal. And then I go back to my room and I'm like crying. I wrote him like a note in the pizza box, like being like, please, cheese, believe me, I'm sorry, or something really cool.
I love that.
And I was like, I just ruined my game over pizza. Like, really, Marie? Like, you can't just reel it in.
Yeah, because he got really upset over it, didn't he? And then he like started gunning for you.
So let me say this. We grew up watching Brad. Me and Jake did.
Brad was my absolute all-time favorite.
We loved
Real
Brad
Worlder.
back in the day.
When he was locked up.
Yeah. Wait, what?
One of my favorite when he got locked up in Chicago. That's where he was, right?
Oh, I don't know. He lives in Chicago. Yeah.
Or his actual Real World season. He went to jail on it. It's hilarious.
Oh, see, I didn't watch his Real World season. We started after he was on the challenge.
That's what you have to watch when you guys have time.
Okay, we're going to go back and watch that.
Yeah, we were fans of his, and because he always seemed to be like a pretty level-headed guy that just wanted to compete.
He was the house nice guy.
Yeah.
And he had those big brown puppy dog eyes that you would trust your life with him.
Yep.
But
he still is like that, though. It's weird.
But here's the thing. Hannah had never seen him before. She didn't know him. So her first introduction to him was during that season.
And so, like, Jake and Zach had been really building up.
We were
like,
excited
man,
he was back.
Brad's coming back. He's been gone for a long time. He's one of these really old school guys. He was great. We're so excited. You're going to love him. We loved him. And I was like, okay, I'm excited.
We did not love him that season.
And then the very first episode of that season, he walks on. And I looked at Zach and I was like, he kind of looks out of his mind. Like, I thought his eyeballs were going to pop out of his head the whole season.
He's always had big eyes, but he was going through some things.
Yeah.
And, it may have been a dark place in his life, whatever. But that season, even now, like watching clips of last season and then going to the one that's currently airing, he looks like a different person.
Totally different.
Oh, yeah.
He looks so much kinder in his eyes.
So, he really is such a good guy, though. Like you said, like he really is a good guy. He just has
That's what I want to hear.
moments.
That's what I want to hear.
He is. What did he say to me? He said, "You're on my hit list, so put me on yours. Goodbye."
I was like, man, what is happening?
It was weird. He was really weird last season.
And then I got blamed for the note.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
Guys, you don't know, that was very, very dramatic in the house.
I will
like nobody was speaking to me over this note.
That's so funny.
How long did that go on?
Literally, we didn't know who wrote the note until the reunion.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
So this
Yes.
was like weeks.
Yeah.
That's really funny.
So
I will say, like, Johnny, you can love him or hate him. Like
That was funny.
That's funny because it doesn't really hurt anyone other than maybe you, apparently.
Because everybody thought it was you.
But
Well, I don't think he even thought that was going to be as big as it was.
yeah.
Yeah, I
No,
think
shocked.
for him, he probably wanted to do something that would bring entertainment to him and some of the other people.
I wasn't even allowed upstairs in the girls' room. It was
wow.
crazy.
Good Lord.
Yeah.
That's a little too intense.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a lot. I lost like friendships over it. I was like, I didn't write the note, and then I was like playing detective, and I was blaming it on Brittany and Cara.
We thought it was Cara, I think.
Yeah,
when it's happening.
definitely.
Yeah.
Well, I did too. So when I got eliminated, I wrote Cara a note back into the house, and they showed it on the reunion. Because I was like, since you love writing notes, I'm going to write you a note too, Cara. And I'm like, ever since you came to this house, Kyle's been hooking up with everybody, and like just blew his spot up.
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
I forgot about that note.
That was, yeah. I remember. I think that here's the thing. These last 3 seasons all kind of run together to me, and I don't know if that's.
I don't even know
I feel like
what
it's
they
all
are
one
either.
big season.
I don't know if that's just me because who knows? I'm almost
No,
30.
it's everybody.
Okay.
I feel the same way. I couldn't even tell you what is what.
Yeah, like I remember events out of them, but like specifics on things, like I was just thinking, oh, I remember that reunion, and then I was like, wait, no, that was the Dirty 30 reunion.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
like again, I'm not trying to downplay like the challenge, but I really like they just kind of seem to go together, and I know it's like a trilogy thing.
So
I was trying to write down before like how I got eliminated so I can like explain my elimination so I could come off cooler to you guys. And I'm like, when was this? Like, when did I eat
Yeah.
this food? Like, what?
I
Was
can't
that
even-
Dirty 30 or Final or whatever?
Yeah, like what's the lag time between like when you finished Dirty 30 and then when you started Vendettas? Like, is it a few months or what?
Yeah, it's only a few months.
Yeah. So you have just enough time to kind of reacclimate back to normal life, and then you're gone.
Yeah,
again.
which is like, you don't. Because like the first month you get home, you're just like shell shocked and you think that like everyone's out to get you. It's crazy.
Yeah, that's like you're conditioned to like be on the lookout for everyone around you for 2 months.
Yeah. Well, so Well, here we go. So you guys are a lot of the challenge, a lot of the challenge fans think I suck, right? Or thought I sucked, or whatever you want to think.
I didn't. So let me clarify. I didn't think you necessarily sucked. I think maybe my wording was, I don't know what you do other than you fight with people.
That's fair, I guess. That's
We just didn't
fair.
get to see very
Yeah.
much. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, so one of the eliminations was the eating thing.
Oh yeah, the
Yeah.
weird rat thing.
I was thinking about that the other day.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
what country was that in?
That was in Colombia.
Yeah. So
Colombia.
someone from Reddit reached out and they're like, ask Marie how she liked Colombia, and they're like, P.S. we don't really eat those weird rats here.
Yeah, I knew that. I was like, yeah, right, TJ. I'm like, you eat it.
Yeah, that was
But-
a weird one.
So I took a bite. It's not like I just threw it on the floor. But then like Nicole was eating this stuff like she made it at home. I was like, I'm not gonna win this.
Yeah, she
Yeah,
surprised me.
she was-
Yeah.
Yeah, she
She's
could eat
getting it
that
down.
girl. She could really eat. She should have actually won that, but she couldn't rip the eyeballs apart to
Yep,
swallow it. How
yep.
gross is that? That's something I could actually say.
Yeah.
She couldn't rip the eyeballs apart enough to like be able to swallow it. Like what?
Yeah, you get, the eating challenges are weird because it's like very different from everything else that happens on the show.
Yeah.
Because you guys had one on Battle of the Seasons too, where you had to do that weird like we can eat 42 in 5 minutes or whatever.
Give me hot peppers all day.
Yeah,
Yeah, you did really well in that one.
The Champs for Stars stuff, I'm like, listen, whenever you guys want to roll out some birthday cake and lasagna, I'm good. But you keep putting these like dog liver and brains and stuff on the table, this is going to be an issue for me.
Yeah.
Like, why does that have to be part of it?
I'm a weird like I'm better now that I'm getting older, but I'm a big texture person, and like if something's got a really
Yes.
weird texture, it just grosses me out so much.
Yeah, well, good. I wish for everyone out there that like says like, oh, she couldn't eat the giant water rat. I want to go to each and one. That's like that should be a show. I should go to all of our houses and just give them giant water
You
rat.
should just pitch that to
Be like,
TV.
you eat it.
I'm gonna stand here and watch you try to
just
eat it.
call it "You Eat It" with Marie.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, it
yes.
could be like a new little YouTube
like that.
miniseries.
Yeah. Now you guys know what I'll be doing for next week.
Oh yeah, we're gonna tune in for every episode.
That can be your YouTube channel. That's what you'll do after this.
Perfect. Eating
Yeah.
gross stuff.
Okay, so we mentioned Nicole in passing real quick and how she's able to scarf down anything. But my question, because we actually started off talking to you about your accent, how it's kind of died down a little bit. And one of the things that drives me crazy about Nicole is her accent. Is it really that strong, or is there some additive to that, like I believe there is personally?
Maybe it's because I'm a New Yorker and I just have a strong accent as well. I don't even notice it.
She has a pretty strong accent too. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I may not have any room to talk because our listeners have deemed that I have an extremely southern accent.
They either
and,
think he sounds like Kohutta or George Bush.
yes,
Yes,
yeah.
Kohada.
Marie, can you please settle the debate here? Do I actually sound like George Bush?
When you say Bush like that, a little bit.
Wow.
But no, I'll take Kohada over Bush if you want.
Okay, that's okay. I'm good with
Well,
that one.
Kohutta, we're in Tennessee, so Kohutta's not too far off from us.
Yeah.
He's down in Georgia, I think.
So our southern dialects should kind of mesh well.
I wish I had a southern dialect. That or a British accent. They really just kill things with that.
I would do a British accent because it seems to me like if you have a British accent, people think you're smart.
Right?
The stereotype that I've heard personally is people with a southern accent sound or are received to be less intelligent.
Kind of like New Yorkers.
Yeah, again, we kind of talked about it earlier, but it was funny going back, and I was like, man, like her accent was so much stronger, in 2012.
Yeah, but it's not nearly what it
As
was
bad,
now.
thanks.
Here's the thing. I love New York. My parents, their best friends lived in Long Island, so I grew up going up there.
Mm-hmm.
And we'd go to Long Island, and we'd take the train into the city. And so I grew up kind of doing that, at least, I've probably been 6 times in my life up to New York
Nice.
from Tennessee. So actually, me and Hannah went
2 years ago.
2 years ago. We stayed in Brooklyn, but we went into Manhattan one day, and she's never been in a city like that. And
Oh, wow.
Times Square like freaked her out.
So many people pushed me in the road,
Ugh.
like into oncoming traffic.
It's a lot.
Yeah,
It's
I
a
was
lot.
like, you got to walk with purpose, or they're just gonna keep moving.
Yeah. You need like a license to walk in New York
Yeah.
City.
And again, I've been there, since I was 7 the first time I went. So I grew up kind of walking between the subway cars when you're not really supposed to, like as it's moving and all that, to get at the right stations.
Oh, I had my other elimination I need to explain.
Oh yeah, sure, go for it.
The wicker basket.
That's right. I remember that.
Me getting stuck in the wicker basket or whatever they want to say.
Yeah, I forgot.
Okay. So what happened was this. I'm a realist at the end of the day, right?
Yeah.
I'm not Kayla. I don't live in a gym, but I did hate Cara. I hated her. I loathed her.
That's good motivation.
And the last thing I wanted on Vendettas was for her to win. Okay?
Yeah.
So when they put me against Kayla, I knew two things would happen. Either I beat Kayla, and then I'm probably going next week, or Kayla stays and she has a better chance of, getting somewhere because she's just in better shape than I am.
Yeah.
Like, in person, I'm actually a pretty big girl, so I hate when Brittany and, like, all these other small girls are like, oh.
How tall are
I'm
you?
such a good... I'm between 5'6", 5'7".
Okay, yeah.
Oh, wow. Yeah, you're pretty tall.
And sometimes I push 150. It really depends on the day. Like, I'm a big girl. So, you could run, but you can't hide. So...
Because you'll get them.
Yeah, so I basically went up to Kayla. They filmed all of this, obviously. Why would they show it? Of course, never. But I was just like, listen, like, this is your time to shine. And, I bowed down. So at first, it was a puzzle. And I went in there, and I was literally just, like, rolling around and being like, Kayla, can you hurry up? Because, she couldn't figure out the puzzle for anything. And then eventually it got to the point where I was, like, embarrassed that I was still in the basket. I was like, I'm just going to get out of the basket at this point and just, like, do that. And then, like, oh, my God, the hate that I got for that. I was like, just kill me.
Yeah, I remember that happening now. And I
remember reading comments on, like, Instagram.
Yeah. If I say anything about Cara, they're like, well, she can get out of a wicker basket. I'm like, okay, great.
Well, so, yeah, again, we can kind of talk on that a minute. So we typically on this show, we were all from Fresh Meat to on, like, we were fans of Cara. Like, clearly,
I was too.
Clearly now she's not the same person she was, and whatever, she can live however she wants. Mm-hmm. But this season's very strange from a viewer perspective watching her.
It seems like she's not the same person.
And I don't know how to like quantify that, like how to like say what makes sense about it, but it seems something seems off, and it's just strange.
So like the first couple of seasons that she was on, it was like she was kind of like the weak and
the underdog,
defenseless girl.
Yeah.
And then like her mid seasons, like the last couple of years, was like her like glow up, where she was working out a lot more. She was making a name for herself and becoming a more fearsome competitor. And then we see her, like, even the first episode of this season, we were like, something's off. And what do you think is
and I don't
going
know.
on?
Yeah, don't get into anything you can't, but yeah, if you can.
Guys, I told you, I'm open book here.
Go for
Talking
it.
about Cara is like my middle name. The Cara that I think that everyone is seeing is the Cara that we have all seen now.
Really?
For the last couple of seasons.
That's why I was wondering.
There's been so much distaste for her and stuff.
Yeah, I remember at one of the reunions, I was like, I remember that was the first time, it probably was the last reunion, not Dirty 30. I was like, something seems weird, and I was like, usually I understand where she's coming from, but I was like, something's off, and I don't agree with what she's like defending right now. And I don't remember specifically what it was over. It may have been something with her calling out Tony, and then who knows.
Yeah, I remember that.
Hypocritical.
It was
especially
either,
considering this season.
It was either Dirty 30 or Vendetta's last season that she seemed to be crying a lot just throughout the season, and people, I mean, a lot of people in the house weren't being super nice to her, but I couldn't understand why she was being so overly emotional and was getting upset about everything and then like lashing out at people. And
because
so
she's the victim.
Yeah.
And that is what it seems to be now. It's like,
we're seeing it this season for
like,
sure.
You can't be the victim when you just won last season, Cara. Nobody feels bad for you. And just like the things that she says are just so condescending, especially to like me and like me as her partner. I was like, I'm sitting here and she was calling me Laurel at one point. She was like, this was the relationship
Like on
I had
purpose,
with
or?
Laurel. No, she was actually like calling me. She's like saying that I reminded her of Laurel.
oh, okay.
Really?
And I was like, listen, I didn't watch your rival season, but I'm pretty sure that you're the Laurel in this case if she was
Yeah,
the
and
bitch.
that's honestly, that is exactly what it is.
You know what, Cara? Give me 10 more seasons and maybe I'll whip my ass into shape too
Yeah.
and win one of these things. But everyone has to start somewhere. And that was the biggest issue that her and I had, and was to humble herself. Somebody tweeted something at me. All of our beef happened via Twitter. Okay, so we go on Dirty 30. I thought I had no issues with her, right? Nothing big, whatever. Get home from Dirty 30. We didn't really talk that much, but like didn't not talk. But I was definitely someone that she knew was trying to get the stronger players out, because everyone has to play their own game.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not playing the same game as Cara because I don't want to go against Cara. I have to get Cara to go against someone like Kayla.
Yeah.
Like, that's just how it works out. Everyone has to play their own hand. So I didn't think that Cara and I had any kind of issues. And we get home from Dirty 30, and a fan tweeted something like, it was like my cast photo or something, and who is Marie? Like, she should never be back on this. And Cara liked it. And I would have never seen that had it not been for like the people that are quote unquote my fans, right? So they sent it over to me.
Right.
And I'm sitting there and I'm like, what the hell did I do to Cara? You know, like, why is she doing that? So of course, Marie, I like retweeted, I at her, and that's like kind of how all of this, like feud started. But, you know, people would, she would never answer me. She would always like subtweet me, and like, even till this day, she refuses to at me in anything. If you like,
really?
On Instagram, she doesn't follow me on anything. Yeah.
That's really funny.
Yeah, it's really annoying. Yeah, like somebody would tweet a picture of me and she'd be like, "Oh, it's a fan. It's a fan." And I'm like, why? When did you become this person? You don't have to be Johnny Bananas to be a staple on this show.
Right.
Yeah, I agree.
with that.
Yeah. Now he's kind of an anomaly because, man, if you go back, he's kind of come into his own as far as likability. But man, for
His first few seasons,
I did not like him at all.
And
he had a weird
that's the key
voice.
word. Few seasons. Like, I think that everyone needs the opportunity to come into their own if they want to.
Yeah.
Yeah, you kind of have to figure out how you want to play the game yourself.
So do you think
Exactly.
this is Cara coming into her own? Like, this is the true form, the final
No,
form?
when we got put together, I said, I'm going to humble your this season.
So let me ask this: Do you think? Because my theory, and I mentioned this on our last episode, is that Kyle has had quite the effect on her. My whole reasoning was, because I was with them on this, that Cara's just been extremely unlikable this season, and then I watched this last episode and I'm like, this girl is in love. So
I heard
you
that.
can debunk that, or
Well, if you
has
can,
yeah.
Cara 1000% had feelings for Kyle, and I felt for her for that, because I mean, anyone in that situation would be upset. The issue that I had with Cara was that she wasn't admitting that. You know,
Yeah.
Right.
I kept being like, listen, if you're upset about it, that's fine. Like, I'll have your back. Like, I'll go tell Faith to stop touching him now. Like, that's not the issue. But when you're saying to Faith's face that you have like no issues, you know, like you're trying to get with Paulie, it's a whole different situation.
Yeah, that's what was weird, is that she was just like, oh, I'm not mad at you. Everyone's free to do whatever they want. You know, I can do this and you can do that. Like, but I'm still mad at him. And I was like, well, why are you mad if you don't care?
Yeah.
And,
Right.
like, it just came off really hypocritical, which, again,
And
ironic.
so-
Also,
Oh, sorry.
how great was that part of the episode when
Oh, that was
Faith
my favorite
like,
part, when it like
"Screw!"
it slow zoomed into your face.
It gave me life.
Oh, you're talking about the part outside.
Yeah,
Yeah.
where you're like, what are you doing? Get off of his lap.
Well, so after they gave us the grenade, I was like, listen, Cara, we're not going to cause any drama. I just want you to smooth things over with them. That way, like, you know, we're cool. You know, you guys can be friends, whatever. So I knew that she was like, you know, doing something. And then she goes and she writes in her People article that, you know, she told the producers that she was going to go upstairs and bite the bullet to talk to Kyle. Get the hell out of here. I came up and I was like, what are you doing? Like, get off of him.
Yeah, that was, again, the best part of the episode.
That was me the entire season, like even that beginning part. Like, I had to like break them up.
I will say you have given two of the most iconic meme moments of the season with the girl power moment before this past challenge, and of course the get off his lap moment.
I remember that girl part moment when she was just like going on a tangent. She just like, that's it. I was like, okay. Wonderful.
Yeah, it again, that's what's been probably the most annoying thing, is just like it's funny that in this episode she's like, I'm trying to be a role model for all these young girls, and we're like, one, like what really young girls watch the challenge, but two,
you're not being a good role model.
Well, no,
Yeah.
two, she tweeted like
in July.
a week ago, like, I'm not a role model, I'm free to live my life.
This is what
she's
she
like,
does.
I'm no role model. I never claimed to be.
This is what she does. And she's like, Natalie is the nicest person in the world. Everyone follow Natalie. Natalie, Paulie, come with me to all of my events. It's just
Yeah,
like,
she
Yeah,
she's
they've
just-
been doing a lot of stuff together.
She
It's
might
kind
as
of
well just
weird.
be on Big Brother from now on.
yeah, take her. Take her.
Yeah, so how do you feel about that? Like, I honestly, I was a little apprehensive with the people from the UK, and I never personally have been a fan of Are You the One, other than
Devin.
Devin is the exception to the rule. I've
Devin's
liked Devin since day one.
like my biggest man crush ever.
Devin's awesome.
I-
Like, really.
He always
love
has a girlfriend when he
Devin.
comes in the house, so I'm extremely
funny.
obnoxious. Like literally, like you could ask any one of the castmates, they'll tell you. Like I am overly obnoxious because I know nothing will happen. But like we'll be
Yeah.
like walking out to a challenge, and I'll be like, "Wow, Dev, like yeah, I would tell you look really good in red," and like we'll all be wearing red.
I've liked him since day one because he's the closest, I think, to
Wes?
that we'll get again. And I don't know if Wes will ever come back and do a full season. I loved Wes because he was just different than the
Yes.
rest of those guys in that time.
Yeah, he's
And
awesome.
he was openly trying to go against
By himself.
Johnny and Kenny and Wes.
Yeah, I
Evan.
watched his Real World season, and so I liked Wes back then. But I mean, going back and watching Fresh Meat 1, he was a really big jerk to Casey sometimes. Although she was terrible, like probably one of the worst people to ever be on the show.
Casey?
Yeah,
Worse
his
than me?
partner. Oh yeah.
Oh, she was
it's-
awful.
Yes,
you-
that's what I'm gonna
you-
tweet now.
Yeah.
Or have you seen Casey?
Yeah. No, every single daily challenge that they would do,
She would just-
like it would be like even simple things, and she would always go last. Everybody else would go before her, and then she would complain about how only crazy people do this, and
then
she's
she
not going to
quit.
do it. And one time she threw a hissy fit, and TJ even looked at her, and he was like, "You're really throwing like a temper tantrum," and she's like, "Yes, I'm throwing a temper tantrum. I'm not going to do it." And so like she just sat it out, and I was like, I don't want her to ever come back.
She didn't do much after that. Oh,
She was the worst.
yeah. You look like CT compared to her.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Like
I'm
again,
gonna use that as a little clip in him, like put it as like my
yeah.
CG next to her.
It's not current CT. I'm talking about prime CT.
Oh my God, Prime CT?
Like-
yeah,
Yeah.
right. You wouldn't
Yeah.
even be able to get me in a house with him. I'd be freaking out. I'd be freaking out.
So yeah, weirdly, like our show is named after CT. Like when he fought Adam, like he's like smash your head and eat it. But
Yeah.
I hated CT for years, and again, he was a little unstable for a while. But
Then
he's
that thing happened. His brother.
yeah, and
Kinda toned him
and,
down.
And,
Yeah.
Diem,
And then Diem.
yeah. So
Oh my God, so sad.
Did you know Diem?
Yeah, I did. I actually went to her funeral.
Okay, because I knew it kind of overlapped, but again, you were new at the time, and
Yeah,
so,
I was still kind of making my way back, but she was just honestly one of like the nicest people ever.
Oh yeah, like
I loved her.
we've talked about that. We're like, I don't know how anyone can ever like have a problem with her. I mean, I'm sure there are, because like, of course there are.
Yeah. But
They're
like
weird.
it wasn't
This
it
podcast
wasn't
isn't
just
for
the
them.
fact that she had cancer a couple of times. It was the fact that she was also a really good competitor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Her very first season, she was paired with Derek, and they made it to the last challenge right before the final.
Yeah.
On her very first challenge, so that was
Yeah, she
really
was a fighter
impressive.
in and out of the challenge for sure.
Yes.
That's awesome to hear.
She was great.
Yeah.
Because again, we again, I don't know how you're not a fan. You just are not really a human if you don't like her.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like you need to go to church, sir. But yeah, well, I was actually just in Vegas last weekend, and I was
Yeah,
with
saw that.
Leroy. You know, and I was like, 'cause he's like, you think you're gonna be on this next show or whatever? And I was just like, I don't know, like, because you get the call, but you don't ever know if you're gonna get confirmed.
Okay.
You know, until they set the cast up, and he's like, what do you mean you don't think you're gonna get confirmed? You were on the last four, like, and you're gonna be like a pretty big part of the season. Of course, you think that you'd go on to this next one.
Yeah.
He's like, the thing about the challenges though, that like I can't keep coming back there and being Marie, the girl that smokes cigarettes and drinks alcohol.
Mm-hmm.
Because eventually like that gets played out
Yeah.
because nobody wants to see that.
Right.
You have to like, the challenge is kind of the lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, it's
I joined the gym. I just haven't been there yet.
You sound like us.
Yeah, it's definitely weird. Like there are people who like have faded in and out. I know from your Real World season, Rob did one more, right? And then was it Trey? Was that the other guy? I can't remember.
Yeah.
He did one more, and then that was it, right? No one else from your season did anything.
Yeah. No,
Oh, I'm sorry, Latoya.
Yeah, Toya. I think she did 3.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I don't group her with you because she wasn't on Battle of the Seasons, and I just forget.
Yeah.
And
Then it was the same.
Dirty 30, she went home really early, so that was unfortunate.
oh yeah, she got axed on that first purge, right?
Yeah, I hate purges.
Yeah. Okay. How do you feel about well, I don't know if you can get into it, but how do you feel about the Redemption House, just in general?
In general, well, the first time I went to Redemption alone, so that was terrible. I was there for a week by myself.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah. And they were still waking me up with cameras. I'm like, don't you guys have enough footage already? Like, I've been talking to the wall for the last 3 days. Like, what do you want from me? But the thing about the Redemption House that I think is necessary in this season is that the gender different pairs is so difficult.
Yeah.
It seems like it's uneven. Like it's not fair for other, like, girl teams or girl-guy teams. It seems like it's not an even enough playing field when you're going against Kyle and Brad.
Yeah,
I
so
mean,
far
it can never be.
Yeah, it looks like Kyle and Brad and Johnny and Tony are like the teams to beat.
And don't get me wrong, I'm sure there's some woman out there that could probably beat them, but none of us are that person. You know, like even with eating, guys could just typically eat more.
Yeah,
You know?
Tony put stuff down.
Yeah, and I mean the sheer size of Zach, he got to cross half of that train beam, you know, with just one step. It's really, really unfair, and it's very hard to make any kind of equalizer in those situations.
Yeah, it made us. We speculated a lot about it after we finally got to the first elimination because it took 3 episodes to get there.
Yeah.
But we were like, what are they gonna do? Like, they have to have a plan in place that says, oh well, if it's, you know, a guy team against a girl team, you know, it's got to be fair odds no matter what. It can't be like hall brawl or something like that.
Yeah.
You know, and it's apparently there was the whole thing with Polly with the bands on him.
Yeah, but by the way, put those bands on Zach and Joss and see what they do, Paul.
That's what I was
Yeah,
wondering.
it's going to be
Come
a
on.
different story.
And put those bands on me versus Cam. You know, it's like you just got really unlucky there, pal.
I think Cam's a powerhouse. We've talked about that.
Cam
she seems tough.
She's mentally tough. She's physically tough.
Yeah.
She's amazing. She really
She's
is.
been very impressive.
Oh yeah,
far.
she's the golden child.
Again, I think I started to talk about it last time and I didn't bring it up, but how do you feel about all the people coming in from like Big Brother? You know, the offshoot.
Are You the One?
Well, Are You the One at least is an MTV show.
Yeah.
I mean, it's weird that it's like they're like recruiting from other shows that had nothing to do with MTV Family.
Yeah, like on the first episode, it said that Angela's from Bad Girls Club and Faith is from Vanderpump Rules.
Yeah.
It seemed like maybe the casting crew was trying to find people outside of MTV.
I get that there's not a Real World season happening and Road Rules hasn't happened for a while. I think the Real World's coming back, but as kind of an old fan, I don't like it. And it's just because I don't like change. I didn't like Are You the One? But I do like Devin. He kind of turned me. I ended up liking some of the other ones. Like, they've grown on me for sure as it's gone on. But
we really like Tori also.
Yeah, Tori's great.
Tori's badass. The thing about the shows is that if they continue to just keep bringing in Are You the One, and now you phased out the Real World and you phased out the Road Rules, all of these new Are You the One kids that come in are going to be Are You the One kids.
Yeah, it's just a dating show, so that their whole thing is just.
But what
drama
I mean
the
is,
whole
like,
time.
they're going to be in an alliance together.
Oh,
Yeah,
gotcha,
absolutely.
Gotcha.
So by bringing in these other shows, you bring in that different dynamic where they essentially everyone has to kind of like split up and meet new people and you know get to know each other.
I guess that makes sense. I hadn't thought about it from that perspective.
Yeah.
I did. We talked about it.
It is annoying though because they think they're like way more famous than us. And I'm like, shut up, you're on CBS. Like, get over it.
Yes.
Yeah, the Big Brother crew especially seemed, and again, what I was going to get to is, I did appreciate how Jose set with Brad and kind of just laid everything out with Brittany, because he could have been like, hey, it'd really benefit our Big Brother alliance to really just screw with Brad and make him unstable.
And like really play it
Yeah.
up.
But he seemed genuine on, hey, this is what happened. If it was me, this is how I would feel. And I was like, that's respectable from him.
I mean, I think all of them are actually genuinely good people, and you probably like all of them in person.
Okay.
But the thing is, again, like you walk in the house, everyone's eyes are on you. It's just like being a rookie in any other season. And on top of that, you know, you're not part of us. So of course we're gonna like try to come at you first.
Yeah.
But I mean, guys, like that's not something that's new. Like they were.
No.
I remember like 2 weeks ago they wasted about like 15 minutes on a part of the rookies, of each of the rookies, saying that like the rookies got to stick together. I'm like, I get it. Like we all know that the rookies have to stick together.
Also, like freaking Angela like lost her mind when they threw the pillows at her when they read the message, and I was like, this has been happening for 20 years, and I was like, they did it to Mark Long.
Yeah, but agree or disagree, I think Angela and Faith are such great additions to this show.
They have surprised us. We all talked about that.
They've
The
competed
energy they
better
bring.
than we've expected.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Like
then-
that first ring challenge, I was like, they're pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And nobody likes fresh meat that's good. So
Yeah, it definitely, that surprised us. And then, man,
the only thing that I really don't like about this season, obviously, I didn't like the beginning because I think that I'm hoping that we didn't lose a lot of fans because of how the editing was going. You know, that people haven't like tuned off too quickly. But all of the episodes that you have seen, they're there for a reason because they have to be. Like you have to understand the backgrounds to.
I get that, and that's we talked about it. I said, you know, I'm hoping that the first however many episodes are building backstory, because we don't know a lot of these people. It's going to set up future storylines, and then as more people get eliminated, the dailies and then the eliminations will come quicker. It's not going to be, 3.5 weeks before we see an elimination every time.
Yeah, I have a theory to that, so remind me because I'll come right back to it. But in the actual game, the only thing I don't like is the double cross. What is that?
Yeah.
You don't get to even try to, like, if you don't pull the double cross, you're screwed? That sucks.
Again, Jenna and Jimmy got kind of screwed on that.
Yeah.
Still upset about that.
And they picked first. By the way, they changed that after they had gone home.
What do you mean?
Really?
Yeah, so you know how the Big Brother teams chose 1, 2?
Uh-huh.
After they went home, every other redemption house after that would choose in the order that they came into the house.
Well, that makes sense. But since they all got sent in at the same time, was it just that way? Because remember, those all got thrown in because of the coffin.
That was the first purge.
True.
Yeah. So they kind of all were new to it.
We'll give them that one.
Okay. We won't give them much, but we'll give them that one.
Yeah.
So what was your theory?
My theory is this. So there's been a lot of talks about like Netflix collaborations and stuff like that
Okay.
with other shows, not necessarily The Challenge. I've heard about Real World and stuff like that. But wouldn't a 20-episode challenge be a perfect segue into a Netflix series?
That's interesting that you said that, because I was either on Reddit or Instagram or something today, and I've seen people saying that some people just decided not to watch last season and then just bought it on like iTunes or Amazon afterwards.
Yeah.
And just binged all of Vendettas, and they're like, it was so much more enjoyable that way. And they said they're hoping that the same thing can happen with this one. That when you sit down and watch it all in one big chunk, it flows a little bit better. But because it's like episodic and it's week to week right now, it's just like, good Lord, it's been a month and we've seen one elimination.
It feels like it's really being drawn out.
Yep. And we live in like an on-demand generation. Like when we want something, we want it right now.
Right.
Yeah,
I can't even sit through the commercials.
Yeah, when me
we
and
skip
Jake
through the commercials.
we've talked about it, but when me and Jake started watching, it was like, oh, if you don't remember Tuesday night at 9 p.m. that it comes on, like you're just screwed because you can't watch it again. You don't know when it comes on.
Yeah.
So you'll have to wait for a recap the next week.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I really believe that maybe that's how the challenge is changing as you know it.
I'm just an old man. I don't know if I like it.
Listen, guys, all I'm saying is being there, being in the challenge and knowing what is going to happen, I can't imagine them being able to edit this in a bad way because the stuff that happens is so insane.
Okay, that's what we needed. Because again, Jake's got a history of he grew up and he still does watches a lot of professional wrestling. I didn't grow up like that. He loves the pacing of this series,
The drama.
Yeah. So because my thing is what makes a great fight or a great wrestling match is the promo material, right? If people just get put in a ring, nobody really cares. But what's the history behind it? And so I'm actually a big fan of everything that's happened to this point. And I'm not like a dramatic guy in that I just love to watch people go at it. But as far as my entertainment goes, I want to have a reason to care why you and Cara are into it.
Yeah.
And because I know, like, it carries more weight to me.
For sure. Well, maybe, you know what, I think they should have started off the season with a 2-hour episode. We would have knocked out two episodes right there.
I agree with that.
So.
Like they just did a 2-hour premiere for Are You the One? Like, why couldn't they have done that with the challenge?
Because they hate us.
They might. I don't know.
Well, we don't hate you.
No.
Yes! Right.
We hate Are You the One?
Yeah, it seems like the people like Are You the One is just becoming like the minor leagues for the challenge at this point.
Yeah, I don't even think so anymore because, I mean, they don't even call those new seasons. They have like their core 4 now, you know, that are going to keep doing this thing. And I don't know if there's any room for anybody, especially if they continue to bring in other shows. Yeah. I mean, the spots are limited. That means a lot of us are going out. That means, you know, who knows who they're going to bring in.
I will say, I hope that they do a season where it's almost. Did you watch Cutthroat? Because that was before you were on.
I remember sort of watching it.
Okay, well, it was 3 teams of 10. It was basically
yes, okay, I remember
3
that.
3 big teams. I liked that format because it was just different, and you know, there was you could do it again. Like my idea was you do a new shows versus like the middle ground people versus like the old school, if you can get enough old school people to commit to doing it.
So like Mark Long.
We know Mark's in for it because he's always telling the whole world he is.
Also, he's ripped.
Yeah.
The problem,
Still.
I think the real problem is that they have about getting the vets back is that they have to leave their lives. Like we filmed for almost this last one was like almost 9 or 10 weeks.
Yeah, so
a phone call once a week, like I don't know.
The Challenge Mania podcast just did one with Landon, who's an old school guy who was awesome.
I remember him.
Yeah, he won 3 out of the 4 that he did, and he almost won the 4th one.
And he was a good guy, right?
Yeah, real good guy.
Super nice.
And he was actually, I think, on the Good Guys team that one season when they did that thing. But his whole thing is, you know, he's in a profession now where it's like a dental sales or whatever, and he's like, you know, the appearance fee, he's like, I make 2-3 times that right now in my current stable job that I've been doing for the last 10 years. And he's like,
that would be stable and probably give some health benefits.
Exactly. And he's like, you know, if MTV would say, hey, on the front end, you know, this is where you're going to Jamaica, and you're going for the prize is going to be, you know, $750,000 split between 5 people, whatever. His whole thing is, you know, they're just like, well, are you available from September to the end of October possibly? But we're not going to tell you anything. And he's like, I can't uproot my whole life. He's like, I love competing, and, you know, I would come back. But one, he's like, you know, what they pay us, which was you guys, as far as competitors, compared to other, like, reality shows and stuff like that, he's like, it's not worth it for me because I would be losing out on so much normal, steady work. Yeah. And I don't even know what one. He's like, I don't want to go to a crappy, you know, live in a hut somewhere because that's the theme this season.
Yeah, exactly. I feel you, Landon.
Yeah. He was like, you know, I got to know where we're going and also what the stakes are. And they told him, hey, it's $1 million this year. And he's like, oh, that's a little bit more interesting. Yeah. And so I get it. Like that would be the tough sell on some of the older guys. I mean, I don't even know how you do it, honestly.
Exactly. I mean, it's really just, listen, like, the challenge is like a drug.
Yeah.
Okay, like, people, like, keep coming back to it or whatever. But once you decide that, like, you know, you're going to get a job and, you know, get a boyfriend, you know, like, for me, I've been single for how long? It's because I can't meet a new guy and then be like, oh, by the way, I'm leaving in 2 weeks. I won't be able to talk to you. Like,
for 2 months, possibly.
Yeah. You know, like, who knows what I'm going to be doing? You know, it's very hard to have any kind of stability. And I think that's the biggest issue that we all have. And
again,
I understand that.
It is not a real environment or a real, even though it's called the real world, it is
No.
a simulated reality in a sense of none of this would happen in your normal lives.
And we're all crazy.
Well, you got to be a little bit to be on TV.
A lot of it.
Yeah.
A lot of people say to like a lot of the feedback or stuff I get is like, she's just doing it for the cameras. I'm like, no. Do you think that I'm 15 drinks in that I know where the cameras are? Like, this is who I am on and off the screen. Like, take me for what I am. Like, that's just who we are.
Well, and to an extent, you kind of have to do some things for the camera. Otherwise, nobody cares, and
You fade
don't have
away,
any
yeah.
interest in-
I don't know. I feel like when you walk into the house and like just the energy of the house in general will make you that much more like flamboyant, for lack of a better word.
Do you ever get used to the cameras? Like you kind of tune them out after a while, or you're just very aware of their presence at all time?
No, the challenge is a little bit different than the real world, because in the real world you have people following you around, 24/7, because there's only 7 or 8 of you.
Yep.
The challenge, there's so many of us, so that, like, say you and I are having a conversation outside, and they'll hear over the speaker that it might be something they want to film. They'll come out, and then you kind of have to like repeat that conversation, unless of course you've given production a heads up before time.
Yeah, I can't remember.
So it's almost like the cast members are leading their own stories.
Well, I can't remember who I read it about, but they were like, "Hey, if you're ever just like on your own in a room and then production starts filming you,
Yep.
like that probably means somebody's talking about you somewhere."
Yep, exactly. We're all just like, what are they talking about?
Yeah.
It's kind of weird.
Yeah.
It's got to make you paranoid. Like it just does. Like, oh,
Dude,
why are they
I'm
looking
the
at me?
most paranoid.
Who's saying
Everyone's like-
something?
Exactly. Everyone's like, Marie, you're so paranoid. I'm like, okay, first and foremost, one, we're in a game where everyone is out to get you.
And it's for a lot of money.
Like, am I paranoid or am I aware? Like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
So,
Or is it
yeah.
like a mixture of both?
And the thing is, I think somebody you asked before, how do you keep friendships?
yeah.
We are so crazy because you have to think, depending on the theme and whatever, like, we'll fight and we'll have to put each other in for the game, but then we have to come back and do it a few months later.
Yeah, and I think you all, unless you're just for real like a lunatic, like you all understand, like it's for a show and it's for a game and for real money. Like, you can play up the whole like vendettas and rivals angle all you want, but at the same time, you all kind of know what you're signing up for when you agree to it. I would assume, I'm sure there are people who have come in there and gotten really like offended, like, wow, I can't believe you threw me in. I thought we were friends, but
Yeah.
Like Kyle and Brad did.
Yeah,
their
how cute.
reaction this last week was pretty weird, but
Brad thought I was in the grave. We're standing right next to each other. He's like, Marie's definitely my partner. I'm like, Brad, half the cast is up like somewhere else. I'm not your partner. I wish
Yeah.
you were a pal. I wish you were, but
yeah, man, you would have been on. You would have had a
no,
good-
that would have been a train wreck. That would have been a train wreck.
I thought it might be
I
Brad.
think it would have been really
Yeah.
funny.
But yeah, as far as like you kind of mentioned that you're a little paranoid because you're living in this such a surreal environment where everyone's talking about you. Is there anything that you've done that you look back on and you're like, oh man, I should not have done that or said that? Or I mean, I'm sure there has to be. You're being filmed 24/7.
Yeah, I mean, luckily, I guess they don't really show most of it. I'm not a very vulgar person. I'm also not like a sexual. Like, I was always worried going on these shows that about like having sex and my grandparents would see, or like I'm still like that. I'm 30 years old,
Yeah.
So like you're never gonna find me in the shower scene.
In the hen house.
Yeah, I'm not in the hen house. I'm actually in the insane asylum with just Shane. Like we
Oh,
found like this one little closet with 2 bedrooms. Like nobody wanted to come in there. But no, I think no. I think I behave myself. I say stupid things. I do stupid things. I'm a human.
Yeah, I don't remember. Like I remember you like clearly like you speak your mind and you get into things, but I don't really remember you like and us watching thinking like, oh, she crossed the line on that one. Like you didn't have like a Camilla blackout moment where you threw chairs and threatened to kill people and things like that.
No, I'm blunt and I'm straight to the point, and I get over things very, very easily.
I think that's the New York in you.
Yeah.
That's probably the best way to be in a house like that.
Well, they all think I'm crazy. They all think that I have several personalities. Like literally,
pretty funny.
they have like multiple names for my personalities, and I'm like, that's great because when I get really drunk and ruin everything, I just blame it on Marnie. And I'm like, oh, just me being crazy again, Like,
Oh, it's Carol. She's back.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so when you guys aren't doing dailies or whatever, like how many days is that in between?
I mean, hardly. So say like we'll do a challenge. Typically the next day is elimination,
Okay.
and then
They
we'll
could
have
have
like
fooled us with that in this editing.
right.
Yeah.
And then I know we're like we're far into it at this point that
Yeah.
you'll never see. And then we'll have like a day of interviews. That will be
Okay.
like our off day or something. We'll have like one off day.
Where you're doing like the one-on-ones where you're like, oh, I was thinking this as we were climbing,
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
I do have one specific question about the last episode because I'm just really curious how this worked. Like, so you're on a train that's going, and like it just seemed like they keep cutting back to like the crowd like reacting to what's going on, and I was like, there's no way they're that close to watching them because the train's been driving for 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Like, was it in a loop or did it like have to reverse back the whole time? Like,
So it was just a one way straight down. You know how people like went different ways?
okay,
some
I
people,
didn't even catch that.
I mean, not that they went different ways, but like say like me and Cara were like basically dancing, then other people like went like across the other way. Everyone could
yeah.
tell.
Yeah.
The stuntmen showed us those two different ways to potentially do it.
Okay,
And
so
then
you-
everyone
Okay.
would go, but you wouldn't be able to see the people who were going on the train from where we stood.
yeah, but they were cutting to reactions. I get it's editing and
But
whatever.
when people were coming back, we could see where everyone made it to. Because like me and Cara, we didn't make it to the very end. We were at like the second hub.
Yeah, you guys made it. I mean, if you were right where your like lifeline should have been.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I thought you guys, when it first aired, I was like, I hope that they did better than I expected because one, I knew you were coming on the show and I wanted you to feel good about what you did. But then we started watching it and like people were just falling off left and right at the beginning.
I know. I had like a minute time span of just like mean tweets, and I was like, haha, assholes. Like, I made it farther than most people.
You did, like you
yeah,
really did.
we were. It was a really pleasant surprise, and I think
I don't suck that much.
yeah, but
don't like eating. Sorry.
even after the first couple of people after you guys that did the daily fell off, like after 3 steps, it cut back, I think, to you and Cara, and your face was just like so relieved.
Yeah.
And I was like, I would feel exactly the same way.
Especially having Cara as my partner. It was like the most pressure in the world.
Yeah.
Yes.
Especially because like everything that she's saying in her interview, she was saying to my face, like, I don't think you have any heart. Like, you know, I'm just like, it doesn't, like, we can get, I'm never going to win. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, even if we win a challenge, like, it's not going to be my doing. You know, it's going to be something that Cara did. So, like, anytime we lost, I just, like, had all of these, like, tweets going through my brain. Like, what are they going to say about me now?
Yeah, that.
But whatever.
I guess so far, like you haven't shown bad this season. Like you guys have been fine. But again, back to the original point, we haven't seen a lot.
No, but you're about to.
Okay, good. That's
A
all.
lot.
That's all I need to know. I just
You guys
need to
have
know
been
that,
wanting challenges and eliminations. You're about to get a whole lot of it.
Okay,
so.
that's what we've been
Yeah.
really, really craving.
Everyone, gather your friends, your family, challenge fans, non-challenge fans. This is going to be one that people are actually going to be like, oh, this is a really cool show.
like
All
this
right,
this
I'm here
coming
for it.
this coming episode or
This
just
coming
down?
episode.
Okay,
Oh,
cool.
I'm so excited.
So all the promos have built to this moment.
Yes.
Okay, good. Because
Oh, boy.
here's the thing. I'll say from the beginning. You know, we've been toying with the idea of doing this podcast for at least since Vendettas, maybe going back to Dirty 30, but it didn't really work out time wise.
I think the first time we talked about it was Dirty 30.
Yeah, and so we finally got it started, and then this season starts, and I'm like, I don't know what to make of this season. Like, I just don't. And like we have friends that don't watch the show, have never heard of it. I mean, it's just how it works. And they're like, hey, what is it? Should I watch it? And I was like, I don't know if you should watch this season right
Yeah.
away because I don't think it's a good representation of what the show is as a whole.
Yeah.
So recently, what we've been telling people is don't start with this
Yeah, like,
season.
go
Go
on-
back and watch one from a few seasons ago, and then you
Go
can
on
watch this one.
MTV.com, watch an old season, and then understand how it works and come back because we're like, we don't know where this one's
let
going.
them watch this episode this week.
Okay.
See how you feel about it, and if you feel how I feel about it, be like, catch up.
Okay, well, yeah, we're
Okay.
we're all in it. I mean, personally, we're
like,
in on
it's
it.
really the craziest. Like, this season is going to be outrageous.
That,
and we
that
all
makes
knew
me
that
feel so good.
that does. Make
we
me
all
feel
knew
a lot
that
better.
like that was going to happen once like, because everything kind of started escalating once CT and Veronica left.
Yep.
Oh
but
yeah.
So speaking of that, we have a theory that CT just disappears and goes to bed every night at like 7:30 because he's just an old dad now.
And then wakes up at 6:30.
Because they don't ever show him involved in any of the drama at nighttime, and then when it does show him when he was in the house, it was like him and Johnny out drinking coffee at like 5
at
a.m.
dawn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So is he
CT's
really
a
doing
dad.
that?
Yeah, he's really doing that.
You know,
knew it.
you gotta change
knew
your
it.
life.
The only thing
sometime.
Johnny got is Angela right now. Like, they're getting old. You know?
Yeah.
They're not out there, like, drinking like we are and, like, getting into these. Actually, there's going to be, oh my God, this season's insane. I can't wait for you guys to see it.
Don't trip up.
I will say I have noticed the last couple of episodes. Of course, CT's older than a lot of these guys, and he's got a son at home. He's been through a lot, so he's showing his age. But Johnny this season is also starting to show his age, and so it makes me wonder how much further he's going to be doing the show.
Yeah, I don't know. Johnny has some big things going on with
Yeah, the
NBC
first
and
look.
stuff now.
The
So I
first
guess
look
if
show.
that takes off, maybe he'll retire. But I think until then, the plan is to just die on the challenge. So
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if he just
Yeah.
does it until he like
this is his
breaks
legacy,
leg.
guys. Like he's
Yeah.
literally gonna get like buried in the ground there. So
It just seems like for so long he's been the face of MTV's The Challenge, and so
he's
I
carried
think-
it by himself, really.
Yeah,
And now he's freaking out.
yeah, I've noticed that.
Yeah, now
Especially
he's freaking
after the
out.
whole thing with Devin last season, which was just so entertaining. So entertaining.
He hates Devin.
I know.
I'm so
And
sad that Devin didn't make it out. I'm so sad.
I know, and
Yeah, we really wanted
I know
that
the
to be his
backstory
partner.
on that, and I don't know if you can talk about that. But yeah, it's
Yeah.
a sad situation. But
Yeah, it was. It's even sadder because Johnny loathes Devin. Like,
it would have made great TV for sure.
Yeah,
Kinda
but
like,
obviously.
like Kenny and Wes on Rivals being partners.
But worse.
Oh, worse,
Oh, yeah,
worse,
worse.
I-
Definitely.
the reason I always loved Wes is because he'll get into it, but he can talk circles around everyone, and
Yep.
then when they yell at him and they get really worked up and start cussing him out, he's just looking dead ahead, doesn't make eye contact, just lets it happen. And I was like, he knows he's in their head at this point.
Yep.
And
Well,
so,
don't worry, guys. Devin is coming.
yeah, we
Yeah,
we
he's
knew,
going to
we
be a
knew that.
mercenary, right?
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm really excited about that. I've been hoping he would make his arrival soon.
Yes. Can't
Yeah,
wait.
for sure. I have a couple of quick questions. We won't keep you much longer because, again, you've been really gracious with your time with us.
Shoot.
But literally, when I started writing questions down for this a couple weeks ago, we were watching Battle of the Seasons, and the first question that I wrote down was, "Are you still mad that you didn't get to swing that fish?"
Yes.
That's what I was wondering.
I can't tell you for how long, because like obviously I stopped doing the shows, and sometimes like I'd go back and
Is that
watch
why
them.
you stopped doing it?
No, not even that. I just crack myself up. Like they just start playing like this like crazy scary music, and me like fighting over a fish. Like, am I serious?
Well,
And then with the whole plant situation, that's my favorite. The bus
Yeah.
ride. Oh
Yeah.
my god.
you had a point. Like, you were clearly the better competitor between you two. And
Yeah.
like, I think it was her first swing. She just lost it and just had
And
to
I
stand
had
there.
She
everything-
flew it away.
She wasn't even trying, and I had everything worked out so that like as long as we didn't come in last, like they'd be safe, and that was good for me because I needed them around long enough that like they go in later so I can stay later. You know, like they
Yeah,
were
yeah.
my bait.
It was your like
essentially.
safety net.
Yeah, exactly. So
Yeah,
that was
no,
annoying.
that makes sense.
Yeah.
It
It's so funny that you brought up the fish.
I literally that was the
It
first
was-
the
it
first
was
Like
question.
great.
screaming from the sideline.
I wrote that and I texted Jake and told him I was like, I'm gonna ask her about the fish, and he's like, I literally was gonna ask her a question about the fish.
No, I definitely wanted to hear about Marie's fish whacking skills.
I think
for
it would have
sure.
been a really good fight if it
Nah,
was
I would have taken
you
her.
and Sarah.
Done. No shot.
Yeah.
Sarah wasn't. Her head wasn't in it either. Like they were like joking around, swinging these fish. I
Yeah.
was freaking out.
You were there to murder people.
They didn't even show up. Me and Laura were fighting over this fish for like 15 minutes before it even
Oh,
started.
really?
And Trey's like, Marie, stop! Like she just wants to swing the fish. I'm like, I swear to God, Trey.
Yeah, but once she stood up there, I was like, oh man, Sarah's gonna get her out in like seconds.
Yeah.
It was just funny that that was like the big takeaway from that season. Other than weirdly, you fought Cara in that season in that oil wrestling thing.
Yeah, she's never let it go. I think
and you
that's what
beat
it
her.
really stems
Body
from.
slam.
Oh
you got
yeah,
her.
I forgot about that.
Yep.
That was great.
You know, that's why she just is huge now.
No
'cause
wonder,
she
it's
just
been
works out all
lingering.
the time. Yeah,
It's been lingering. She's been very upset since I body slammed her.
it's from
We
And
need
that's
to
where this
get that
vendetta really
in,
stems from. Not from Twitter, from the oil.
yeah.
I believe
get
it.
that in GIF format and just let you have that. To
Oh
just
my
put
God, we
out on
have to. I don't know
social
how to
media.
make GIFs, but I need it because I'll tweet.
Well-
Anytime she tweets at me, I'm just going to send it.
Yeah. Well, she doesn't tweet at you. You said she doesn't.
Yeah, but that doesn't stop you
She'll
from tweeting at
she'll
her.
subtweet. Don't worry, I find her
Yeah,
tweets.
you can like hit the reply button.
Always.
Yeah, when I searched your name when we were messaging earlier, like there was two that came up, and they were both from the same little scene, and it was, I guess it was from either your Real World season or like the reunion.
Oh,
of
my
Battle of the
fish thing?
Seasons.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess I got a thing for fish. I don't know. Don't try to make me eat it, though.
So yeah, the one thing we asked Brandon, and I'm assuming this is going to be a general, like, overarching theme, but is TJ as great of a person in real life as what he is on the show?
TJ's really cool.
Okay.
We don't get to interact with him as much as I think people think that we do. Like, he'll be there on the sets and stuff. In fact, this season I came up to him. I was like, TJ, what's your beef with me? Like, why you gotta talk so much shit? He's like, what? I'm like, I see, like, because we'll do pickups after everything happens, and like he'll be like, Marie, you're the competitor in the world, and I'll just be like, but you didn't say that to my face, TJ. So what's the issue? You know? And he's like, oh man, I love you, man. Like, he's a really, really cool dude. Really cool.
Yeah, so I guess we haven't asked about that. Is he off on his own somewhere, like in another hotel, down the road? Is his family with him, or is he just on his, how's that work?
Yeah, he's off by himself. His family, his friends are there sometimes, and whenever like we're not doing challenges or eliminations, he's obviously doing that.
Yeah, I was wondering how that worked because I was like, he's got like kids and a wife, and
Yeah.
I was like, that's.
And he hosts all of these, so he's gone for like the full extent of the
He's
show.
been doing like 22
Yeah.
of them or something like that.
They definitely fly them in and out to come like.
That's what I figured because
Okay.
he's not competing for the money, so he's not having to live the tough life of
No.
boredom.
But he loves watching us fail, man.
My favorite thing about him is how happy he is when you guys don't know answers on trivia.
Oh my God, I know.
I wish that was a daily challenge that would come back. I feel like we haven't seen it in a long time.
It's coming.
That's all I need to know.
Yes.
Yeah, so we had some quick like little Reddit things, not bad ones. So I'm not gonna.
You can read the bad ones. I don't even care at this point. I'm like 3 Twisted Teas in.
So people wanted to know who this may have been from Twitter. I don't remember. We had back and forth, but who is the fakest person on camera? I think I might know what your answer
Natalie.
is. But oh, really?
Natalie.
That surprises me.
I just think she's fake in general. I don't know.
Yeah, that doesn't
So
surprise
Devin,
me.
Devin was on top of that then. 'Cause
Oh,
he
yeah.
was,
Oh, yeah,
like, the
that's
guy
true.
that
That's
called
right.
out.
Yeah.
We were all listen. Even in her last confessional, when she's talking about the Johnny thing, like I'm the type of person that like I don't care how you feel, whether I agree with it or not. If you feel a certain type of way and you say it, I can respect that. But it's when you have to kind of like dig for answers and like know that they mean something else that like I can't with. Well, I think that was my first curse.
Oh no, it wasn't. I've been making notes.
Sorry.
You're
Damn it.
fine. You're fine.
I've been making them as they happen. It's fine
So
though.
funny.
No, I think Zachary. I think you were surprised that she said Natalie because you were expecting.
I expected Cara right away. Yeah,
Kara's not fake. She's just annoying.
Yeah.
she's hypocritical. It seems this season.
That's what it is. She's just
Okay.
hypocritical.
I think I expected
So
Brittany to be the answer.
So
Brittany's a sweetheart.
Really.
She really is like the nice. That's what pisses me off about her too. Like she's just like such a nice person. And it's like, don't come at me at Twitter, Brittany. Like, don't do that. I hate that.
So on this current show, when you're not filming, like who's the person that you're hanging out with? Is it Shane?
On this one,
Yeah.
yeah, it's either like Shane, Amanda. Yeah, I mean, there's so many fun people in this house that Kaylee, I was everywhere. So
Yeah.
just not in the gym. You can find me everywhere but the gym.
so you and Veronica were the two that were in the
Yeah,
gym.
basically. I fell for her.
I had somebody ask if you're single.
Yep.
Well, they'll be listening for that. I don't know what they'll do with that information, but
Thanks, MTV.
It's out there.
They recently they try to keep up with us and like see what's going on in their lives, and they're like, "Are you single?" I'm like, "Yeah, because of you guys, because I have no stability."
yeah, because you got to be ready to like say, "Hey, I'm gone, but I don't know where to, or for how long, or for what money."
And on top of me being crazy and sabotaging relationships myself, like then I have to go ship off somewhere. So thanks, MTV.
Someone asked if you and Frank are still friends, and
Of course,
do you
always.
want to see him come back?
Oh my God, who doesn't want to see Frank come back?
I want to see him come back.
So, again, watching Battle of the Seasons, he was very
Harsh.
Loud.
No, I don't mind.
Outspoken?
I don't mind him being loud, and I loved him getting in Dustin's face and all that stuff.
Oh my gosh.
He was very mean to Sam, and
Yes.
Zach was too.
Yeah.
Neither
Yes.
one of them were innocent in it. I get it was out of frustration, and again, that was the whole season where he's like, I don't want to look like a crazy person while he's punching the pillow, and but as a competitor, like I love Frank.
He's great.
Yeah, and he knows how to get in people's heads. And so,
Oh yeah.
I know he was like, I think he was getting his doctorate or something like that.
Yeah. Now he's educated Frank, so you know that he'll be throwing that around in interviews.
Oh,
Do you-
yeah.
Dr. Frank Sweeney.
Do you think he'll be coming back?
I don't know if anytime soon, because I'm pretty sure he still has some school left.
Okay. Yeah, I know there's been some
He's definitely got the itch.
good.
Yeah.
Again, I liked him.
Awesome.
And again, I'm very straight. I have my wife here with me. I was like, Frank's a good looking man.
Yeah, he is.
And
He is.
I was like, I get why people don't like him, but at the same time, I loved him on the show.
He's great TV.
It's funny because when we were on the show, everyone hated us, and then like seasons later, everyone's like, "We love Marie and Frank." I'm like, "When? Since where?"
I guess time heals all the wounds.
Yep, definitely.
Yeah, the only other like real question I have, from the top of my head was, someone legitimately asked about your family, and it seems like you have a really fun family, like what you post on Instagram and stuff. And they wanted to know about that dynamic.
I do have a really, really fun family. They're loud, Staten Island New Yorkers.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll try to pitch a show, guys. Give a shout out to MTV.
Oh, yeah. You could start off with
Roda
that
rules.
YouTube miniseries.
Roda rules. That's like the road rules. Like
Oh, that'd be
spin-off.
awesome.
Oh, that's great.
That'd be awesome. All right, you heard it here first.
Yeah, the wording's perfect.
Guys, I've been practicing this clearly, so
It's great.
This season has definitely been a strange one from a fan perspective. I'm way more encouraged after talking with you.
Yeah, and you guys have to like tweet at me or hit me up somehow, like whatever. You guys were so like sweet to begin with. I was like, I'll just give you my cell phone number, just text me and let me know what you think.
Hey, I'll do it. I'll do it. Like,
I have my phone in front of me.
Well, don't do it now. Don't do it now. We're recording. But
Bleep, 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 bleep.
yeah, again, like it's funny. Like we were nervous going into this because we have no interview backgrounds. Like Hannah did public speaking stuff.
And
You
all
know,
throughout college.
Yeah, and so
I was just a public speaker.
I went.
And Zach and I.
Yeah,
did
I went
Same.
to school for television production, but like it was all behind the scenes. Like I'd hated being on camera and all that, still do. And
Yeah.
so we were really nervous about this when we started the show. I think the first time we recorded our like introduction episode, I had to do the intro like 6 times because I just didn't even know the wording or how to get started. And that was July 4th, and it's crazy.
Wow.
It's crazy now, like talking with you and even talking with Brandon. It just feels like people like we've known for like a long time that we can just sit down and have conversations with, which probably changes our perspective a little bit because it makes us realize like, oh, they're just real normal people who are pretty outgoing and ended up on TV.
Have lives outside of the show.
Now,
And trust me, like my family and friends don't want to talk to me about this shit, so it's nice to talk about with someone that like understands, like
Well, and I think it's a credit too to you guys and just your character, like how easy it makes it for us. Because again, us never doing anything like this, like. I know, like, I was thinking, like, going into the Brandon interview, like, I mean, do I need to have, like, 30 questions
yeah.
ready?
I was
Like,
way
how do we go
over-prepared
about
for
I
that.
had
this?
3 questions.
yeah, Hannah was underprepared. She's like, I'll just do whatever.
Well, I
want.
knew that if you're the interviewer, you only need to have a few questions because you want the interviewee to be elaborate.
Oh yeah, I will say, I hit up Twitter and Reddit and whatever, just asking if anybody had any questions for you guys. we got so many more questions for you than we did. Again, you're on the current season. It's
Yeah, that's the only reason.
Brandon hasn't been on in a while, and so like people legitimately like wanted to hear from you and how you ended up on the show. How it was
so cool.
How it
so
was
not
working
everyone
with Cara.
hates me. Weird.
I'll tell you, there was about 50 comments in that thread, and only one was negative. And it was just some jerk who's just like, hey, why do you suck so much? And people just downvoted it. And so
That's a good ratio for me, 50-1.
Yeah, that's pretty
that's really good.
I'll take that all day.
And again, people were honestly probably the most frequent question we got asked was, why did you take the time off between seasons?
Yeah.
And
A lot of people wonder that.
again, I completely understand it because I have no idea how I would deal with filming, coming back, not even getting to see how it came out, and then filming again, and then now you've got 2 shows you're sitting on, and
Yeah.
you're like, oh no.
Well, at least when I do something crazy this season and come home, I'll have a resume prepared. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
I won't be starting from scratch anymore.
That's true. And you've got a following. You got, don't delete your Twitter
Yeah.
again.
No.
Because
No, we
No.
need your tweets.
So yeah, again, I mean, unless you have anything you want to talk to us about, we don't want to keep you any longer because I know you're. Are you still planning on flying to Spain, or is that not happening?
No.
Okay.
No, not tonight.
Well,
But no, guys, this has been so awesome. I love doing this stuff. You guys are awesome.
again, you were actually our first confirmed interview, and it blew our minds. Like we were like, oh,
We were so excited.
we were like, maybe she's
Guys.
just been drinking a little bit.
I'm
She's
really
gonna,
not cool at all.
Well, we were like,
I do want to say
Go for
this just before we wrap this up. In wrestling, they have a phrase called being put over. In other words, they begin to push a certain character so that the fans will root for them, cheer for them. They'll be on their side.
I'm being put over.
And, we want to put you over because you said you made a statement in Invasion of the Champions before you tragically went.
tragically.
And
Was that
you
my
said,
one interview before I left?
yeah, you said that I am Marie 2.0 this season.
Oh yeah, I forgot
And
about that.
See you later, haters. I'll be back.
What I think we're seeing this season, and I remember saying, I believe it was after the premiere episode of Final Reckoning, that I think we're gonna come around to really enjoying Marie this season.
Guys, I think so too.
It's Marie
You have no idea how
3.0.
excited I am.
Here's the thing.
That's it. I think we're seeing Marie 3.0.
I agree because
right now.
we started recording and we did episode 1, and honestly, I might have thrown you on most overrated just because it was I don't know what you do.
Listen, you could keep me there. I probably am.
I don't remember, but I will say we watched the premiere, and I was like, no way am I like siding with Marie over Cara on this. And then like
This is like every podcast or like thing I read. It's great.
The next episode
Cara's
came out,
so mad.
and I was like, I said on the show it's either episode 2 or episode 3 of this season. I was like, if this season turns me into a fan of Marie over Cara, I was like, I don't know what I'm gonna do. And as it's gone on,
So here we are. We don't know what we're gonna do.
Yeah,
Oh my god, I love it.
it's just been really funny.
It's so funny though. Like think about it. I had so many options to have as rivals, as did Cara.
Yeah.
But when I tell you they nailed it on the head, like our just back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's no one that's going to be able to handle Cara like I do, and vice versa.
Well, that's great because that means
So.
you're not gonna lose your mind and try to stab her or something.
Oh yeah, but I might try to stab somebody else. So
We'll just be
girl
waiting.
power.
Well, yeah. Before we get out of here, plug your blog that you're doing, like the recaps after the shows.
Yeah.
Oh, so after every show, I do a recap on Betches Love This, which is a really cool, funny website if you're a funny girl.
But the URL is just
or guy.
BETCHES.
BETC. Yeah, it's bitches with an E.
Yeah.
.com. And then I guess should I plug my socials?
Yeah, go for it.
go.
I know they're different. Your
my-
Twitter and your Instagram are different.
I know, I'm all over the place. My Twitter is Marie_TBD, as in to be determined, because
That's what
I don't know what the hell I'm doing
I
in
was
life.
wondering.
And my Instagram is Marate, MARHE, and I also don't know what that is about.
So the 8 has no
They're unique.
significance.
Nothing. My friends used to call me like Moreau because my name's Marie Roda.
Okay.
I don't know where the 8 came from.
I was like, well, maybe because you were born.
I think I thought it sounded like Great.
But
or something. I don't know.
You were born in '88 though, right? Because I am too.
Oh, yep, that works.
Okay.
There you go. That's exactly why.
That's
I did
why
it.
I thought you might have done it, but
that's why I did.
I will say I have always liked your Instagram handle.
yeah.
Thank you.
It's short and to the point.
What do we got to do to get you verified on Twitter?
I was verified on Twitter, but I changed my handle. They won't give it back.
Oh man.
You got to make better
problem.
life choices.
It is a problem
when it comes to
because
social
I'm
media.
freaking hilarious on Twitter. I crack myself up sometimes.
I will say, like, again, Car's fan base is very vocal and
Loyal to a fault.
polarizing. Let's say it that way.
They're coming around too, guys.
I know. That's what I'm saying. Like, I've seen like fan accounts that were like Cara Stan, and then it's like now it's like Cara and Marie Stan. And
Guys, it's hilarious.
Yeah.
It's so funny.
I think
And
it's
poor
awesome.
Kayla, she's like, everyone still hates me. I'm like, sucker.
yeah. When was it you that had everyone on Instagram like read the mean things about him?
Yeah.
Yeah, Kayla's. Seemed like she got really offended by that.
She laughs. She's really, honestly, out of all the girls, like, she's one of the best. I feel bad that she doesn't get to show that. Maybe I'll have her come and talk to you guys so you can see that too.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, again,
Sure.
Like I said, guys, I'm the plug. You tell me who you want. I could probably get
I'll be
them.
honest. We haven't been big fans of Kayla, but you might change our mind on it.
There you go.
The main thing with her is I just remember her peeing in the bed.
I'll never forget
Yeah.
that.
Pee in your pants is cool.
Well, yeah. I mean, if
What's that movie?
Billy Madison.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, Marie. Again, thank you for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
We'll
It's
reach
been
out.
great.
You know, as this season goes on, we might want to bring you back. See what you now that you can.
Oh, you're
talk
gonna want to
more.
bring me back, guys.
Yeah, now that you can talk more about it as it happens, we may want to get some Marie insight. You know, maybe not this long because, you know, I hate feeling like we
Well,
hold you up.
I had to obviously I had to flip for it. What was it called?
What?
The wrestling term.
Oh, the
You're being
Put
put
over.
over.
You just
I had to
made
put
up a
myself
whole
over.
new term.
I had to put myself over.
Well, yeah.
But yeah.
Again, you've definitely won us over, even just for the fact that you took our dumb joke, my dumb joke. I'll take responsibility because no one else said it about your pants. And ever since then, I was like, hey, she's got a good sense of humor. And then as we've been messaging and whatever, you know, you kind of just confirmed that. So
Awesome.
again, we appreciate it. Anyone listening,
I appreciate it.
Go check out her recaps and don't check out Cars.
Hell yes. Retweets all day, guys. Love you.
Thanks, Marie.
Bye, guys. Have a good night.